She stood before 300 guests in a blood-red gown, concealer barely hiding the bruise on her cheekbone, when her fiancé leaned close and whispered the 5 words that would end her life as she knew it. I will destroy you tonight. And the Korean man watching from table 7 heard every single syllable. The bathroom mirror at Diamond Hall didn't lie. Ciara pressed powder over the purple shadow beneath her left eye, her hands trembling as she worked. 3 years of practice had made her an expert at this. The art of disappearing evidence, of making pain invisible. Tonight's charity gala for the Children's Hospital was packed with Boston's elite. Cameras everywhere, Jordan's colleagues, her own family, who still believed she'd found her fairy tale. If they only knew. She'd stopped wearing sleeveless dresses 2 years ago, stopped posting on social media 18 months back, stopped calling her sister 6 months ago when Jordan decided her family asked too many questions. The engagement ring on her finger, platinum, 3 carats, flawless, felt like a shackle. Ciara? A woman knocked. They're starting the speeches. She forced a smile at her reflection. The woman staring back looked hollow. Coming. Across the ballroom, Minjun Kim sat alone at table 7, a glass of untouched champagne before him. His tailored black suit cost more than most people's cars. His presence commanded the entire VIP section, though he'd spoken barely 10 words since arriving. His associates, 3 men in equally expensive suits, flanked nearby tables, watching, waiting. Tonight's gala was a front. The real business would happen in the private lounges upstairs. Territory negotiations with the Bratva, a fragile peace treaty that could prevent a war. But Minjun's mind wasn't on business. His younger brother had married last month. The wedding had been beautiful, traditional, full of joy Minjun couldn't remember feeling. 5 years since Hana died, murdered in her wedding dress by men who wanted to send him a message. 5 years of building walls so high nothing could reach him. He'd forgotten what it felt like to want anything beyond power and revenge. Then Ciara walked back into the ballroom, and something shifted. Jordan grabbed Kiara's wrist the moment she sat down, his grip bruising. "You were gone 14 minutes, he hissed. "Who were you texting?" "No one. I was just—" "Don't lie to me." His smile stayed fixed for the cameras, but his fingers dug deeper. "We'll discuss this later." The speeches began. Ciara tried to focus on the hospital director's words, but her wrist throbbed. When servers brought the main course, herb-crusted salmon, Jordan cut his meat with violent precision. Then Ciara's hand slipped. Her wineglass tipped, red liquid splashing across Jordan's white sleeve. The table went silent. Jordan's face transformed, rage replacing his practiced charm in an instant. "You stupid—" He caught himself, aware of the watching crowd. His voice dropped to a lethal whisper only she could hear. "I will destroy you tonight. When we get home, I'm going to make sure you never embarrass me again." But the acoustics in Diamond Hall were perfect. Minjun heard every word from table 7. He watched Ciara's face drain of color, watched her shrink into herself like a woman preparing for impact. He'd seen that look before, on Hana, the night before she died, when she'd begged him to call off the wedding because she'd received death threats. He'd told her she was overreacting. She was dead 12 hours later. Minjun stood. His associates immediately tensed, hands moving toward concealed weapons. He waved them off and walked across the ballroom with deliberate slowness, his footsteps somehow audible despite the music. Jordan looked up as Minjun's shadow fell across their table. "Excuse me," Jordan began. "This is a private—" "No way." Minjun's voice was quiet, absolute. 2 words in English delivered like a death sentence. Jordan's face went white. You're Minjun Kim." "And you?" Minjun extended his hand to Ciara. "Are leaving with me." The private lounge upstairs smelled of leather and expensive cigars. Ciara paced like a caged animal while Min Jun made phone calls in rapid Korean. When he finally hung up, she exploded. What the hell did you just do? I removed a problem. Min Jun's expression remained neutral. Your fiancé's bank accounts are currently being frozen. His law firm will receive anonymous evidence of embezzlement by morning. Stop! Ciara's voice cracked. You can't just destroy someone's life. He was planning to destroy yours. Min Jun stepped closer. Or did you think tonight was just a figure of speech? Kyra's hand moved unconsciously to her ribs, where older bruises lay hidden. You don't understand. Jordan's family is connected. His father is a federal judge with a gambling problem and a mistress in New York. Min Jun's tone didn't change. I know everything about the Hendersons. They're not as powerful as they believe. And you are? Fear and defiance warred in her voice. Yes. The simple certainty in that word terrified her more than Jordan's threats ever had. This man could snap his fingers and erase people. What did that make her? A project? A conquest? Her phone buzzed. 17 missed calls from Jordan's mother, texts from his sister, his lawyer. Ciara, what did you tell that man? Jordan is beside himself. Come home immediately. We can forget this happened if you apologize. I need to leave. Kira grabbed her clutch. This was a mistake. I can handle Jordan myself. Min Jun blocked the door. 2 of his fraternity brothers are currently in the parking garage with a syringe full of sedatives. Did you want to handle them too? Kiara's knees nearly gave out. You're lying. My security has them on camera. Would you like to see? She sank onto the leather couch, shaking. Trapped between monsters, one she knew, one she didn't. Min Jun's estate sat 30 minutes outside Boston, hidden behind stone walls and ancient oak trees. The mansion itself looked like something from old-world Korea. Curved roofs, paper lanterns, a koi pond glowing under moonlight. Ciara stood in the guest suite, still wearing her blood-red gown, feeling like she'd stepped into a fever dream. 48 hours, Min Jun said from the doorway. That's how long it takes to fully neutralize Jordan and his family's response. You'll stay here until then. And if I refuse, then I'll have you driven anywhere you'd like to go. He paused, but Jordan will be waiting. She hated him for being right. A woman in her 60s appeared with tea and traditional Korean pajamas. I'm Mrs. Cho, she said gently in accented English. I'll take care of you, dear. The kindness broke something in Ciara. Tears came before she could stop them. Min Jun dismissed Mrs. Cho with a subtle gesture and awkwardly offered Kara a handkerchief. I'm not good at this, he admitted. At what? Kidnapping? Comforting. He sat across from her, maintaining careful distance. I usually solve problems with money or violence. Tears are outside my expertise. Despite everything, Ciara almost laughed. You're terrible at this. I know. They sat in strange silence. Finally, Ciara asked, Why did you help me? Min Jun's jaw tightened. I was engaged once, 5 years ago. The woman I loved was killed because I didn't take threats seriously enough. His eyes met hers. When I heard what he said to you, I saw her face. I'm not her. No, but you deserve what she never got, a chance to escape. Ciara looked at this dangerous, lonely man and saw something unexpected. Genuine grief. What was her name? Hana. She loved orchids and terrible romantic comedies. I'm sorry. So am I. Ciara woke at 3 a.m., unable to sleep in the unfamiliar room. She wandered the mansion's halls until she found Min Jun's study. Door open, lights on, but empty. The walls were covered in art. Expensive pieces, but also photographs. Her eyes caught on one frame. Min Jun in a traditional Korean suit. Younger, smiling genuinely, standing beside a woman in a white hanbok. The bride held orchids. That was taken 20 minutes before she died. Kara spun. Minjun stood in the doorway, barefoot, wearing simple black clothes, vulnerable in a way his suits never allowed. I thought the wedding was the next day, Kara whispered. It was supposed to be, but Hana wanted wedding photos at sunrise, said the light was more romantic. His voice held no emotion, which somehow made it worse. A rival family planted a car bomb. She was walking to the photo location when it detonated. Minjun, I spent 5 years destroying everyone involved. Every single person who knew, who helped, who looked the other way. He finally looked at her. It didn't bring her back. It just made me into someone she wouldn't recognize. Kara stepped closer. Is that why you helped me? Revenge by proxy? No. Minjun's composure cracked. I helped you because when I watched you shrink at that table, I realized something. I'm tired of being the man who only acts after women die. I want to be the man who stops it before. That's not your responsibility. Maybe not, but it's my choice. Kiara understood then. This wasn't about her being special. This was about him trying to save the part of himself Hana's death had killed. He told me I was worthless, she said quietly. Jordan, every day for 3 years until I believed it. Then he's the liar, and you're the proof. Something shifted between them, recognition of matching wounds. If you're going to survive what comes next, you need to stop flinching. Minjun led Ciara to the estate's private gym the next morning. Jordan will try to reclaim you. You need to be ready. I don't know how to fight. Then learn. For 3 hours, Minjun taught her basic self-defense. How to break a grip, where to strike to disable, how to use an attacker's weight against them. Ciara was clumsy at first, apologizing every time she messed up. Old habits from Jordan's criticism. Stop apologizing, Minjun said firmly. You're learning, that's enough. By hour 4, she'd actually managed to flip him. They both landed hard on the mat, breathless, and suddenly Kiara was laughing, really laughing, for the first time in years. Minjun stared at her like she was a miracle. What? She asked, self-conscious. You're beautiful when you're not afraid. The air changed. Kiara's hand was still pressed against his chest. She could feel his heartbeat, quick, human, real. Minjun. He cupped her bruised cheek with devastating gentleness. Tell me to stop. She didn't. The kiss was desperate, hungry, 3 years of touch starvation meeting 5 years of loneliness. They made love on the training mat, both terrified and exhilarated by their own vulnerability. Afterward, Minjun traced the scar on her shoulder, a cigarette burn from Jordan's accident. I'm going to destroy him, he said quietly. I thought you already did. No, I dismantled his finances. Destroying him means making sure he never touches another woman again. Kiara should have been disturbed. Instead, she felt safe. They spent the rest of the day on his terrace eating Mrs. Cho's cooking, talking about everything except the danger waiting outside. Minjun told her about growing up between cultures. Ciara shared her abandoned dream of becoming a photographer. For 6 perfect hours, they were just 2 people choosing tenderness. What would you do if you had to choose between safety with a dangerous man or freedom alone? Drop your answer below because Sierra's about to face that exact choice and it's going to break your heart. The police arrived at dawn with Jordan and his lawyer. My fiancée was taken against her will, Jordan announced to the officers, playing the concerned victim perfectly. I have witnesses who saw Mr. Kim forcibly remove her from the gala. Minjun's legal team was already present, but the optics were bad. Ciara had to give a statement. Jordan's eyes found hers across the estate's entrance, a silent threat wrapped in false concern. The detective asked gentle questions. Miss Thompson, are you here of your own free will? Every eye was on her. Jordan's lawyer recording everything, cameras from news vans that had somehow been tipped off. Her phone buzzing with texts from her mother. What's happening? Is this about that Korean man? Come home. And Min Jun standing silent, giving her the choice. The truth would destroy her reputation. Her family would never understand. Social media would crucify her. Engaged woman runs to gangster. Jordan's connections would twist it into a scandal. And Min Jun. His world was violence and power. What kind of future was that? I want to go home with Jordan, Kira heard herself say. Min Jun's expression turned to ice. Then go. Min Jun, please. I don't save people who won't save themselves. His voice was brutal. I made that mistake once. Never again. Jordan's hand closed around her arm, possessive, triumphant. Min Jun turned and walked back into his mansion without looking back. The drive to Jordan's penthouse was silent, but when they arrived and the door closed behind them, Jordan's mask dropped. Did you fuck him? His hand raised, and Kara realized she'd made a terrible mistake. But something else had changed, too. She wasn't the same woman who'd left this penthouse 48 hours ago. Jordan's hand came down. Kara caught his wrist, exactly like Min Jun taught her. Jordan's eyes widened in shock. What the hell? She twisted, using his momentum to throw him off balance. He stumbled into the wall, more surprised than hurt. Don't touch me, Sierra said, her voice steady. Ever again. You crazy bitch, I'll... She pulled out her phone, already recording. Say it again. Threaten me again. I dare you. Jordan's face purpled with rage, but his eyes flicked to the camera. You're insane. That gangster has poisoned your mind. No, he taught me I was never worthless. You're the one who lied. She grabbed her photography equipment, the cameras Jordan had told her were a waste of money, and walked out. Jordan screamed threats behind her, but didn't follow. He was too smart to assault her on security cameras. Kiara sat in her car, shaking. She'd done it. She'd actually... Her phone buzzed. Min Jun's number? She stared at it. He'd told her he wouldn't save her again, that she had to choose herself. And she had. But did that mean she'd lost him? Meanwhile, Min Jun sat in his study, staring at Hana's photograph. Mrs. Cho had tried to talk to him, but he'd waved her away. You're a fool, he told himself. She made her choice. But his phone was in his hand, waiting. He'd meant what he said. He wouldn't chase someone who wouldn't fight for themselves. But what if Sierra was fighting now? What if she just needed time to find her courage? His phone lit up. I choose me. I choose you. I'm sorry I was afraid. Please. Min Jun was already moving toward the door before he finished reading. Min Jun's team extracted Kiara from Jordan's building in under 20 minutes. They also extracted something else. 3 years of financial records proving Jordan had been embezzling from his firm and his own clients. Combined with Kiara's recording of his threats, the case was airtight. Jordan was arrested that night. The trial took 6 months. Sierra testified, not just against Jordan, but for herself. She told the courtroom about the bruises, the control, the systematic destruction of her confidence. Her voice never wavered. Jordan got 7 years. But Yera's real victory came 3 months after the verdict, when she opened Shutter and Sanctuary, a photography studio and shelter for domestic violence survivors. Min Jun had provided the building, Sierra provided the vision. Her first exhibition, Through the Lens of Survival, sold out. The night of the opening, Min Jun appeared in the same black suit he'd worn the night they met. I have a question, he said. Yes? You haven't heard it yet. Sierra smiled. Yes? He pulled out a small box. Inside was a jade ring, delicate, traditional, exactly her style. This was Hana's, he said quietly. Before she died, she told me to give it to the next woman who made me believe in second chances. Sierra's breath caught. Marry me, Min Jun said. Not because I saved you, but because you saved me right back. Yes, always yes. They married in spring, a fusion of cultures. Her family's Black Baptist joy meeting his family's Korean traditions. Sierra wore a dress that honored both heritages. Minjun cried during his vows. When they danced, Kiara whispered, "Thank you for saying no way. Thank you for finally saying yes." And in the shadow of the same venue where he'd once threatened to destroy her, Sierra Thompson Kim photographed pure happiness, her own. Finally free, finally whole, finally loved without fear. Sierra went from hiding bruises to building sanctuaries. That's the power of choosing yourself. If this story moved you, drop a comment telling us what gave you chills. Was it Minjun's "no way," the training scene, or Kiara catching Jordan's hand? Your favorite moment matters. Share it below.